Welcome everyone, I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and now that all of the film has been watched and all of the grades are in, it's time for the FBGP Scouting NFL Draft Prospect Preview presented by Crossover. Before we get started with our rankings, here's how we gather our grades and what they actually mean. First, we watch a minimum of 3 full games on a prospect, his best game, his worst game, and the best possible matchup. And second, we grade on 15 key points specific to the position to equal 100 points in total. Now here's what the grades you'll see by a prospect name will actually mean. Prospects that have earned grades in the 90s graded out as potential future NFL All-Pros. Prospects in the 80s are considered future Pro Bowl players. Grades in the 70s represent solid NFL starters, and grades in the 60s are players that we believe are spot starters or situational starters in the NFL. And if you notice, we don't use the word reserve or backup because we personally feel as though there's no such thing as backups in the NFL, only starters in waiting. So without further ado, let's kick off our rankings by taking a look at our top 10. We have a 3-way tie for our number 1 spot, and we're going to start with Deshaun Watson out of Clemson at 6'2", 215 pounds, and what impresses me the most about his game is his decision making. Let's take a look at this against Alabama in this year's national championship game. This is the game-winning drive, and we're queuing up, and Watson has to make the quick decision to throw the ball to the back shoulder of tight end Jordan Leggett, and I say quick because he's staring both Tim Williams and Deshaun Hand in the face, and that ball is thrown before Leggett even turns around, but it's a perfectly placed pass, and it gets him the first down. Now here, Watson does a great job of moving the safety with his eyes, vacating the middle of the field, which gives him the window he needs to find Leggett for the first down. And from the end zone cam, you'll see a subtle but quick look left. As the safety moves, Watson works back to where he originally wanted to go with the football and fires an accurate pass. Lastly, this is the game winner. No sweaty palms here, no frenetic pace, just calmly orchestrates sprint right option for the national championship. Watson was a winner in college and will be in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech is a terrific passer that showcases many elite level traits. One of those traits is his field vision. This is heavily evident in his ability to win on 3rd and long. Now here versus Oklahoma, this is 3rd and 20, and you'll see Mahomes as he drops back, recognizes that it's cover 1 with the spy backer, quickly acknowledging the coverage and situation. He scrambles up to force the backer to commit, giving him enough of a window to place a dart into the receiver's hands for the first down. The next play is about 3rd and 26. Oklahoma is in what looks like cover 4, and Mahomes has to quickly decide where he has the best matchup or leverage, and he notices that it's at the bottom of the screen, and as the old saying goes, if he's even, he's leaving, and what Mahomes recognizes and throws a dart, a perfect deep ball to the pylon where his receiver hauls it in for a touchdown. This is a straight dime throw by Mahomes, and he's able to make throws like this on a consistent basis. Finally, on 3rd and 16, you'll see a little bit of the Stafford, Roethlisberger, even some Brett Favre and Pat Mahomes on this one. He scrambles to the short side of the field, makes an awkward yet powerful throw to the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. Now this is the part of the game that makes skeptics say you can't do this in the NFL, when they should rightfully say you can't do this all the time in the NFL, but only a few can make a play like this, and that would aptly describe Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Kaiser out of Notre Dame reminds me so much of Steve McNair when he was coming out of Alcorn State, and there's one particular part of McNair's game that was equally as impressive as Kaiser, and that's his deep ball accuracy. Let's take a look back at 1994 at Steve Air McNair of Alcorn State so you can see what I'm talking about. From the quick release, the arc on the ball with just enough velocity to where the receiver doesn't have to break stride and the defensive back doesn't have a chance to catch up. Now fast forward 23 years later, and you're seeing the same things with Deshaun Kaiser. For example, here versus Pitt, Kaiser throws a deep dime to the receiver on a corner route where he didn't have to break stride, and later on in the same game throws a deep post with enough velocity to where the speedy wideout Will Fuller, who now plays for the Houston Texans, is able to maintain his separation from the DB and hauls in another score. And despite running a 4.8 40-yard dash at the combine, I think a lot of people forget that Kaiser can also do this: run away from people. I was at this game versus Temple on Halloween night with my colleague Teron Davenport, and we both looked at each other and shook our heads like, man, man, this guy is flying. He pulled away from defensive backs, and for a 6'4", 235-pound quarterback to pull away or to hit the sideline and then pull away from defensive backs like that was just flat out impressive. But what should I have expected? It's not like I haven't seen this before. McNair used to do the same thing back at Alcorn State. Now let's take a look at the rest of our top 10, and like I've said before and will always say, each year is a great year for prospects. It's just about digging a little deeper to find them. Gerard Evans of Virginia Tech's game compares favorably to last year's rookie phenom Dak Prescott, and when you break down his film, both junior college and at Virginia Tech, you see a guy that's poised under pressure and has good intermediate to deep placement, as well as the ability to thrive versus pressure. He did a good job stepping into the Hokie offense this season and leading them to the ACC championship game. Josh Dobbs of Tennessee has solid all-around skills, as does Nathan Peterman of Pitt. Both guys were the two standouts at the Senior Bowl this year, and Dobbs has very good mastery of the short to intermediate game, while Peterman is excellent on the move as well as within the short to intermediate game like Dobbs. Josh Strahan of Southern Illinois is a vastly underrated prospect. He stepped onto the scene as a freshman at Stillman College, where he was a two-time All-Conference performer and All-American performer before they dropped football. He transfers to SIU this past summer, where he wins the starting job and puts together a strong season for the Salukis. He plays the same game Peterman does, but is a bit more accurate throwing the football deeper downfield. I got the opportunity to attend about 8 Temple games live over the last 3 seasons, and I've been impressed with the growth and maturation of Phillip Walker's game over that period of time. And what gets underrated about his game is his field vision and his placement. Here's an example versus UConn. This is a third down situation, and UConn had been getting pressure all game long, and he's able to stand tall in the pocket, cycle through 1 progression, 2 progressions before working his way to his third, which was the best possible one because the receiver is running into open grass and away from the defender for the first down. Plus, the ball is perfectly placed where he can continue to run. Another example of perfect placement is here. Just outside the red zone, Walker hits the receiver in stride on a bench route or a deep square route, perfectly to where he can naturally extend for the catch and keep on running. Again, there's a lot of throws like this on tape over the course of 4 years of starting at the quarterback position, where you can see NFL starter traits. Size is not a skill, and the 5'11", 205-pound signal caller from Elizabeth, New Jersey leaves Philly as the all-time passing leader in yards, touchdowns, completions, and wins in a career, along with the school's first conference championship since 1937. Just up the street in Philadelphia is another very talented signal caller in the University of Pennsylvania's quarterback Alec Torgussen, and Torgussen leaves Penn as the program's all-time leader in passing touchdowns, completion percentage, and total offense. He's also first all-time in the Ivy League in completion percentage at 67.4%. Now, what's great about his game is the velocity in which he throws the football. This is consistently on display on slant routes, bang eights, and skinny posts. Here versus Harvard, Torgussen throws a rope that hits the receiver in the numbers to where the trailing defensive back can't break it up, or where the safety help can't get over there in time to make a play. Same thing on the opposite side of the field. This throw is next to impossible to defend. It's thrown on time, accurate, and with maximum velocity. And lastly, Torgussen gets great arc and velocity on this wheel route to where, again, it's next to impossible to defend. I've seen this guy play live 3 times, including 2 upsets over Villanova in this game right here versus Harvard, and he's big time in the big moments. He was also the best quarterback at the East-West Shrine game and practices this past January. David Washington out of Old Dominion has impressive film. Washington came into ODU as a quarterback, moved to wide receiver just to get on the field, while the Monarchs had Taylor Heineke at the position. He dealt with injuries last year, so this was his first full season of starting at quarterback, and he was outstanding. The element of his game that impressed me the most was his placement. I've compared him to Teddy Bridgewater in that regard. Here versus NC State, he's able to accurately place the ball in between 3 defenders for the first down. A lot of things have to go right for this to happen: decisiveness, timing, and also placement. He does all 3, and it ends up being a positive play. Next, look at the anticipatory skills here by Washington and the placement on this throw. The slot receiver is going to run the corner, and the ball is thrown under duress and also before the receiver has even turned around, and it still found a way to land in a perfect spot where only he could catch it for a touchdown. And lastly, another dime under duress by Washington, this time on the opposite end of the field, and again, thrown before the wide receiver has a chance to turn around, but once again, where the defender has no opportunity to make a play on it for another touchdown. Washington made plays like this all season long. He led the Monarchs to a victory in the Bahamas Bowl, which was their first bowl appearance in program history. He has the tools, he has the upside to be a stud at the next level. I think he's a very underrated player in this year's draft class. Looking at 11 through 20, and there's still some solid prospects in this group as well. Antonio Pipkin didn't have the Senior Bowl he would have liked, but that still doesn't dismiss what he put together on film at Tiffin. Seth Russell out of Baylor is an underrated prospect in my opinion. Talent isn't the issue. Health has always been the bugaboo the last 2 seasons in particular out there in Waco. Same for Sefo Lufau of Colorado, the 6'4", 240-pound quarterback has excellent leadership skills and mobility, but has been hampered by nagging leg injuries, and his game reminds me a lot of last year's second overall pick, Carson Wentz. Brad Kaaya of Miami started his career off impressively as a freshman starter, but sort of flatlined his progress. I think he's similar to Mark Sanchez in the sense that he can definitely win you games and lead your team, but he's rhythmic and has to get off to a great start in order to be successful. Good player, but consistency is what you're wanting to see from Kaaya as he moves forward. KD Humphries out of Murray State was a star at the Manning passing camp last summer and was highly consistent for Murray State over the course of his career. He had a great deal of interest coming into the season, and in my opinion, it should never have left. He's a very good player. Luke Papillion of Sioux Falls and Davis Webb out of Cal have rocket launchers attached to their shoulders. Both guys throw the deep ball very well, and Papillion is also a tremendous athlete that can hurt you with his legs, while Webb is coming off an MVP performance in the 2017 Reese's Senior Bowl. Mitchell Trubisky out of North Carolina has solid all-around game and reminds me of Kirk Cousins, both in terms of passing ability and athleticism. Here versus Georgia Tech, Trubisky shows one of his great traits, and that's using the athleticism to throw on the move. In today's NFL, you have to be able to throw from multiple platforms, and Trubisky displayed that during his time for the Tar Heels. Now, this is a perfectly placed pass, and another great quality of his game is throwing on the move or throwing with timing. Trubisky may not have the Davis Webb type arm strength, but he is able to balance it out with tremendous anticipation, which makes a pass very tough to defend. This is a far hash throw, which is usually made by quarterbacks with rocket launchers, but if you don't have one, this ball has to come out on time and placed in a perfect location to avoid the turnover, and that's exactly what happened on this pass to Ryan Switzer. Jack Nelson out of Winona State is a record-breaking passer that has very good pocket presence, pocket toughness, and anticipation. You see here in his first example, as soon as he reaches the depth of his drop, that ball is flying out to a well-covered wide receiver, but you can't defend the perfect pass, and this was perfectly placed for a touchdown. You also notice how Nelson stood tall in the face of pressure and delivered a strike while taking a shot. Second example, again, great job of making an anticipatory throw to where that linebacker couldn't get underneath that route in time to make a play, and the end result was a first down. Malcolm Bell of North Carolina Central has very good upside, and I say that because he has made significant strides from his junior season to his senior campaign. The biggest jump he's made has been playing within the pocket and allowing things to develop downfield. You see here versus North Carolina A&T in the MEAC championship game, the safety is in the middle of the field, and Bell knows he has one-on-one at the top of the screen. He needs to eliminate any possible threat by moving that free safety out of the area. He gives a look to the triple side of the formation long enough to move that defender out of the way before throwing a perfectly placed pass in the end zone for a crucial touchdown. Last year, Bell would have thrown immediately to the takeoff route without looking off the safety, which would have made it a tougher play to make. Now, here's another situation where Bell showed tremendous growth in this game. This is a backed up situation on third down at a crucial part in the ball game. He's able to stand patient in the pocket, wait for the receiver to work himself open in the middle of the field, and deliver the ball accurately to convert the first down. This time last year, Bell would have vacated the pocket unnecessarily to try to run for that first down. This year, he's trusting his protection and his receivers a lot more, and it paid off in elevating his game and also leading the Eagles to an outright MEAC title and a berth in the Celebration Bowl. Moving right along to quarterbacks 21 through 30, and you'll find a group of quarterbacks with a ton of collegiate starts and production. Justin Dvorak was a preseason football game plan Division II All-American. The Colorado Mines passer has excellent deep ball accuracy. And a couple of gunslingers in Brady Gustafson, Chad Kelly, and Trevor Knight, who's a tremendous athlete, are in this group as well. Aaron Bailey is an intriguing one to me because he reminds me a lot of what Cordell Stewart was when he was coming out of Colorado. Good, versatile athlete with improving passing skills. Dylan Biko of Duquesne has been very productive in his career. He's the all-time leading passer in program history, and I'm a big fan of his ball placement here versus Central Connecticut State. On a takeoff route, Biko places this pass where only his receiver has a chance to make a play, which he does for a big gain. Later on in the same contest, Biko places a beauty over the middle of the field in stride for another big gain. Again, this game was very impressive because of how good and talented the secondary of Central Connecticut State was all season long. Placement is a critical component to competent quarterback play, and Dylan Biko has that in spades. Quarterbacks 31 through 40 features guys that have the ability to spot start in the NFL while continuing to work at their craft. All 10 guys here have the leadership skills necessary to succeed, but still fine-tuning the little nuances of their game. One guy in particular of intrigue is Greg Ward Jr. At 5'10", 195, Ward isn't the prototypical QB, and some project him to be a wide receiver at the next level, which he has played during some time at Houston. But I believe deep down, Ward wants to remain at quarterback, and when you break down his film, you can see why. And this is also partly the reason why I graded him out as a quarterback only. Looking at Ward's game, and you can see some of the things that lead you to believe he can continue to perform like this, just like he did for the Cougars. In the first example, you'll see pocket presence, pocket mobility, and the accuracy deep down the field on his deep over route. This is the stuff that you see pocket passers do, right? This was a beautiful rep right here by Ward. And here off of play action, he quickly diagnoses the tight end on the pop pass, which will always be a big play when you have a guy like Ward at quarterback. Teams have to respect the running game and also his own potential to run as well. This is an added benefit of having a guy like him in your offense at the QB position. Next, you'll see Ward drop back, set up in the pocket, see no one immediately, and vacate parallel to the line of scrimmage, keeping his eyes downfield until he finds someone open near the sideline and throws an accurate touch pass for a first down. Again, showing the pocket presence, patience that you want to see from a guy that wants to stay at quarterback. Here, Ward climbs the pocket until the last possible moment before dumping it off to the running back for another good QB play. And lastly, you see him quickly recognize the one-on-one opportunity and deliver a certified dime deep down the field for a touchdown. So to me, Ward has a legit reason and a legit beef why he only played quarterback at the NFLPA game and why he only wanted to work out as a quarterback. He shows good ability to play the position the right way, or the way they want him to play it, in addition to the way he has always played it, which in my opinion is the right way to go about things, which is your way. Rounding out our quarterback rankings with 41 through 50, a lot of productivity here as well. Ryan Higgins was excellent this season for Louisiana Tech. Eli Jenkins was an outstanding signal caller for the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, led them to a title game appearance in 2015. Bart Houston stepped up big for the Wisconsin Badgers when his number was called, and a deep sleeper prospect that has huge upside is Kevin Lacey of Tuskegee. He's another prospect that has gotten better each and every season for the Tigers. So that's a wrap for our 2017 FBGP Scouting Draft Prospect Preview presented by Crossover. To see more of our individual scouting reports, follow us on Twitter at FBGP Scouting and bookmark the page, footballgameplan.com/FBGP Scouting. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan, where you can get all of our scouting videos, mock drafts, pro day videos, and interviews with NFL draft prospects. And one more thing, subscribe to us on iTunes under Football Game Plan Podcast.